We all know Batman. Presumably. We all know Spider-Man. Presumably. We all know and love Aquaman. Good games too. But by far, the greatest superhero of all time is this old lady on a bike. Hello Sorax Spacers. Yes, it's Super Gran. No, not Superman. Maybe de-waxinate. You know, de-waxination? It could be a word. Just don't check. We're happy when we don't check. Super Gran was a book turned into a TV show turned into a game about a dear old lady that was just out going for a stroll only to get pummeled by a magic ray that gave her superpowers. Oh, and did I mention it's one of the worst games ever made? Certainly one of the worst licensed games ever spat out of humanity's dirty gob. But, contrary to reality, was Super Gran actually a super game?
Sorax Space. High quality, laugh out loud entertainment.
Let's stick the cassette in and find out. Ah, the title screen. Are you excited yet? If you answered yes, seek help. Good lord. Is that supposed to be Super Gran? Look at this. Now look at this. Look at this. Now look at this. If it didn't say Super Gran, you'd be lost for what this troll-like face is supposed to represent.
Walt Disney presents Toy Story's Woody, starring Bruce Lee.
Seriously though, this is as good as it gets, so take it all in. Go on. Look at Granny. I don't care if you're going to have nightmares. Look at it, I mean her. Trauma initiated. Let's reluctantly roll. Now, I won't overload you with the deets because let's face it, we're only here to take the piss. But Super Gran started in 1978 as a series of books and transformed into a TV show in '85 starring Gran, who did a lot of stunts herself and, amazingly, is still alive at the time of me writing this at the age of 95. I can only conclude Super Gran is in fact real. It's set in the fictional town of Chiselton and was filmed around the northeast of England, evident from the actors' accents.
Please, Granny, can't you just be ordinary?
The villain being the evil Scunner Campbell.
It must have shot out there somewhere, Uncle.
I realise that, you prune.
Gudrun plays the role extremely well, but her transformation from regular Gran to Super Gran is frankly comical. She's rather enjoying this transformation. A bit too much if you ask me. Slightly uncomfortable viewing when you're sat around the TV with the kids and a granny starts having a leg-shaking orgasm on a park bench. She has a flying bicycle named a Flycycle. Very clever pun there. I've got competition, Sorax Spacers. And she even gains amazing super blowing powers, which would make Wayne Rooney tent and inadvertently burst his shorts. Another superpower she has is murdering children. I'm less enthusiastic about this one. Right, so after 20 minutes of filler, we're finally looking at the game. As soon as the first level, or Sheet 1, as the game strangely refers to it, begins, you're immediately thrown into chaos. I'm controlling Super Gran on her Flycycle, she's the yellow one, and what are we shooting at? Other flying grannies? So yes, an argument over who was first in the queue in the supermarket has escalated to the skies.
I picked up that last packet of jam tarts.
Would you like to go outside, love?
Get your bike, bitch.
After much ponder, I'd describe the level design as utter shite, which is what makes it so frustratingly hard. You fire little blue balls, but the character sprites are massive in comparison. You can shoot in front of you, but also very awkwardly up, down and diagonally if you want. But before you know it, Super Gran's been super shot. One hit and you're out of here, pal. Dying is inevitable. In the game, I mean. I'm not your counsellor. Little blue balls are coming your way, whether you like it or not. And remember, Sorax Spacers, if a granny's giving you blue balls, you keep those blue balls. And your dignity. Do you hear that? You know, that eruption of your lug holes they love to be labelled music. That's supposed to resemble the Super Gran theme song, written and performed by no other than Billy Connolly.
Stand back, Superman, Iceman, Spider-Man.
And we get this transition to the Spectrum. To To call it noise is an insult to noise. Spamming the fire button, as you'd expect, will make a continuous noise over the inverted commas music. It's the best strategy for beating sheet 1, but it won't stop the music. Riri would change her mind if she listened to this. The assault by audio persists on through the shooting sound effect with maximum determination, in a way I can only describe as a battering ram to the brain. Instead of lives, you're given a superness level. Superness, that's right. Get hit, one superness is depleted. What can you do when you have 0 superness? Not much. Some call it death. Rather than grannies, we are joining what would appear to be grown adults with backwards snapbacks on. How embarrassing for them. Either that, or the saucepan helmet army has declared war against pensioners. As you can see, it's very dark in this part of Chiselton, yet it looks a bit like an acid trip. Do you see the power plant, Jim? There is no power plant, Dave. Only purple volcanoes and flying pensioners. Let's get you home, Jim. In fact, there are no sources of light in the sky whatsoever. No sun, no moon, no clouds, no stars, not even a solitary pigeon in the sky. Just pure, dark emptiness. Perfectly portraying your new mental state, ever since that fateful day you fired up this travesty stored in a cassette. I discovered if you line yourself up around the middle of the screen where the enemies respawn, and you just rapidly fire at both sides like a complete maniac, you win most of the time. But your momentary sense of joy is soon stolen and stampeded on. Then run over a few times by a truck. Sheet number 2. No, still not level or stage 2. That's jargon is reserved for good games. Again, you're just chucked into this random mess of a screen and expected to know what to do. Tapping makes Supergram float up Flappy Bird style, but why? What's even going on here? The graphics are dire. Just an awful background, look at this! I've heard of time constraints in game development, but what's the schedule here? A sandwich break? They've depicted Supergram by placing a massive see-through letter S on her torso. You know, in case you thought it was a regular flying granny. Or Raiden from Mortal Kombat. You'd think the S would be sewn on her costume, but no. Someone's cut right through this old biddy and carved an S shape with a blade like Zorro, or Sorrow in this case. Or she's been shunted by a Suzuki Swift. Some sort of flying golden bag is causing a nuisance. That makes 2 floating bags on screen then, doesn't it? Could be an out of proportion hot air balloon actually. But what hot air balloon goes up and down like that? The people inside must be vomiting all over the place. We seem to have been transported into a world where ants drive cars. Not just regular ants, but time-travelling ants that joyride vehicles from 1885. Also, aeroplanes are transparent in this dystopian batshit world. The Mile High Club weren't happy when they discovered this, especially considering the manner of their discovery, when a voyeur granny the size of Godzilla popped up to have a look at one of their meetings. Whilst Supergran helplessly flaps around in the sky, there are fuel containers to collect that keeps her flying. Where does the fuel nozzle go? Try not to think about it, Sorax spacers. Maybe the fuel containers are filled with scotch. To be fair, if you see a woman drinking scotch out of a fuel container, you wouldn't mess with her, would you? At some point, a cat, a rat and a camel had a reproductive threesome and produced this. If ever there was a legitimate reason for culling. The creature's tail is inexplicably erect. I can only assume this monstrous crossbred vermin is a little too pleased to see up Supergran's skirt. When you thought this thing couldn't get any more creepy, it's got a fetish for cobwebs. Or piles. It also appears to be wearing a pair of those curly little elf shoes, but admittedly, that's the least of its problems. The hills have steep abrupt steps as nature intended apparently, and along with the clouds are inconceivably jagged. It's clear that not a single fuck was given about these graphics. If a monkey drew this, I wouldn't even be that impressed. Combined with the persistent, ghastly background noise, all this sheet needs is to be coloured red, and it could feasibly be interpreted as a 2-year-old's drawing of hell itself. You learn after flying up and down like a loon that you're supposed to be going either to the left or right of the screen, entirely up to you, for as long as the game decides that you've flown enough. Again, no timer or other indicator of your progress, just float all the way to the left or right and pray this inflicting experience ends soon. Brilliant game! In reality, a superior grandmother distributes a little bit more pocket money, completes puzzles without looking at the picture on the box, and allows you to decline refreshments without giving you death stares and a physical fist fight breaking out. Imagine that in real life. We're looking for a superhero to fight crime. Well, my mate has a nan that can open a pickle jar. Well, she's hired. Cancel the bat signal. We've found some old crow.
Those stairs will be the death of me.
Ah, you must be here for the superhero in real life interview. I'm Richard, and you are?
By day, I'm Super Gran. And Mrs. Smith from 6:30 p.m. onwards.
You're aware we're interviewing for a superhero, right?
Yes, do I look daft?
Do you want me to answer that?
Were you expecting someone with a little more experience, laddie?
Gosh, no. Please, do take a seat before your legs give way. So, as the army and police force don't exist for the purposes of this sketch, we're looking for a real-life superhero to fight real-life crime, without real-life pay. So, what are your superpowers?
I knit comfy scarves and jumpers.
Comfy, you say?
And I shoo away crows with my stick. Got any crows that need shooing?
Crows. No, but we do have a dodgy-looking pigeon.
I also feed ducks. Got any ducks that need feeding?
Let's move on. How are you at fighting crime?
One word, bag.
Don't put yourself down, Mrs. Smith. You might get carried away. You get it? Because she's a bag.
Not me, you scanner. My trusty magic handbag. One swift swing of that'll bruise some numpties. Got any numpties that need bruising?
No.
And it has an infinite supply of cough sweets. You got any throats that need clearing?
Couple of stranglings, but no clearings, no. Anything else?
Well, I knew Gladys was having it away with that young whippersnapper of a bingo caller, so I grabbed his mic and yelled it to the entire hall. Straight after 13 was called, unlucky Gladys, to stop the clear corruption.
And what evidence did you have?
She won 2 games in a row, Richard. Got any cheeks that need spit cleaning?
We'll let you know, Mrs. Smith. Ah, Mr. Banner. Please do come in. Gently. That's an expensive door frame. Now, I know what you're thinking. How does he do it? Sorax to Richard, just like that. All I can say is some people are born with natural talent. And owning 2 tyres helps.
Why does somebody not know how to flush the toilet after they've had a
Sheet free. Here, we travel through a sewage pipe as a yellow brick that's screaming in eternal pain. Nah, not really. This is an exciting car chase minus wheels and excitement, where the drivers crash because they've rightly prioritised covering their ears over steering. Super Gran? More like Super Gran Turismo.
Sorax Space. High quality entertainment.
Now personally, I'd have preferred a rocket-powered Zimmer frame, but the developers had better ideas and decided to draw a damaged rectangular potato. Apparently, no other vehicles exist in the wonderful world of Sheet Free, and grass kills you. Damn anti-drugs games, Shakes Fist. Was I supposed to read Shakes Fist? No, you can't see me do it. It plays like someone was developing a Spy Hunter clone, then after a few minutes gave up because it was shit. Yet it was released anyway. No, that's not the final game. Don't care. Released it, mate. And people will still pay for it.
Cyberpunk Super Granny Deluxe Edition.
I have the cleanest net curtains in all the land.
How is that preventing crime?
By setting an example, Richard. State of some of the curtains round here are a crime in themselves.
Back to the screaming yellow brick of agony, I mean this well-drawn automobile. If you didn't know this was supposed to be a car, you'd be forgiven for mistaking it for a flying yellow refrigerator with a nonchalant face on it. Again, there's no detail on the road or the grass because they don't give a toss. It's entirely possible that this granny has already run over and killed all of the trees and wildlife. And signposts, they're all dead too. And people. She's not a very good driver. You've got 4 speed settings, and basically you just have to avoid everything. Again, for an unspecified amount of time, so you've got no idea if you're making progress or not. You just hope and pray it's all over as soon as possible. Like all good games. Superness refers to lives and is carried over from the previous sheets. They aren't replenished, so 0 superness and it's all the way back to sheet 1 for you. Why the levels are called sheets, I really don't know. Maybe it's as simple as it's Tynesoft's local pronunciation of the word shit. So here's shit number 3. Not a particularly clever joke, I know. It's just true. I wish awful games were always this honest. Instead of stage 1, here's your first piece of shit. Had a guy come in, called himself Contradiction Man. I said, that isn't very helpful. He said, yes it is. I said, isn't this a Monty Python sketch? He said, no it isn't. That was Argument Man. But I can't tell you why. The blue car in front contains the Scunner Campbell, but you don't have to catch up with him or even beat him to some sort of finish line. You literally just have to not get hit, including by him, until the game just decides you've won. Rumour has it, to create this excruciating noise, they converted the audio recording of the voice of a child perpetually screaming into the abyss. Which is what fittingly actually happened to the young victims who were subjected to this absolute treat of a sheet. Are you enjoying it? Do you mind if I just record this? We're desperate for sound effects. Cheers. Would you like a biscuit? Sheet 3 is by far the hardest sheet. The last time I did a sheet this hard, I had to install a new bathroom. I've tried all different approaches. I just can't do it, Sorax Spaces, I can't. I refuse to use any save states or any other cheats because I hate myself. We'll never discover sheet 4 now. And there's 8 of them apparently. I can just picture that troll face now, you know, the one from the title screen, just gleefully observing you as you suffer. If evil ever had a face. I've decided going super slow is my only hope. You could say I was driving like a granny.
Sorax Space. High quality entertainment.
Are you sure you've got this right, laddie?
Looks like the sheet ends after you clear a certain distance. So of course my tactic means it's taking bloody ages. Oh? Have we done it? Yes! I've never been so satisfied in my life. I wish that wasn't true. Phew! I never thought we'd meet sheet 4, and I kinda wish we didn't. But that's a bit harsh because it's actually the best sheet of the lot. Which isn't saying much because a blank sheet of paper would be more fun. In fact, a used sheet of toilet paper would be too. The military operation on your eardrums they call a soundtrack is back with a vengeance. It sounds like a toad burping in your face.
If you want a vision of Super Gran, imagine a toad burping in a human face, forever.
Another thing about the TV show, it contains surprisingly aggressive insults for kids' TV.
I see it now.
What do you see now, you old baggage? You nodule of nefarious fact!
Get back to your knitting, you woolly old windbag.
Scunner Campbell keeps calling Super Gran a minge bag.
Scanner Campbell.
You old minge bag! I'll get you for this, you old minge bag!
Where are you off to in such a hurry?
Push off, you old minge bag! Merry Christmas, minge bag!
Frozen. Full of fear.
Minge bag.
The word minge means something very different down here. If I had a bag of minge, I wouldn't be spending my time making these stupid videos. Believe me. Sheet 4 is essentially a clone of Manic Miner, but like the previous sheet, shit. Reach the top and touch the turreted gun? Well, that's what it looks like. Super Gran ain't taking no more sheet. Climb the platforms before Super Gran drowns in her own piss. Her wrist furiously flaps around when she moves. Maybe she's knitting on the go. Somebody should probably tell this old duffer that knitting herself a pair of armbands is unlikely to work. At least I hope it's her wrist flapping around, and not the sagging gardens of Babylon threatening to take someone's eye out. The Scunner Campbell's in a helicopter this time, and he drops what looks to be either partially eaten oranges or the corpses of Pac-Men. As I say, at least you get what you have to do this time, namely reach the top and touch the white thing. I just wish I didn't have to have my television sets belching in my face throughout.
You don't want to talk to that sticky Egypt out there, Mr. Parker. He told me he's a swinger.
Shit number 5 of 8. What shape shit do you have for us this time? Hang on. What's this? Sheet 5 is, scandalously, just sheet 1. All over again, except this time, it looks like it hasn't loaded properly. as the old biddy on the bike looks like she's dissolving into the atmosphere. As you're all super smart with how you spend your viewing time, I'm assuming you've already worked out sheet 6 is sheet 2 again, except Super Gran is dematerialising into another dimension because she's had enough. A superpower I'd like right now. Sheet 7 is sheet 3 again, but your yellow brick is melting, and the final sheet, sheet 8, is sheet 4 again, except Super Gran is now see-through. So when they said there's 8 different screens or sheets or whatever other descriptors you want to label on this electronic trash, what they meant was you got the exact same 4 levels twice, except Granny's skin's now peeling off. What a load of shit! The insert the game comes with describes Super Gran as a truly amazing game. They're not lying. With superb graphics. You lying bastards. That really is pure regurgitated marketing trite. By what non-sarcastic metric are these superb graphics? That's like describing a kick in the bollocks as the swift reception of a set of toes to the Skin Twins is a truly amazing experience with superb vibes. The lucky player will receive, quote, 8 action-packed screens. Funnily enough, they don't mention the fact 4 of the 8 sheets of used lavatory paper are identical, besides making your character a bit fuzzy. They knew it was a disgrace back in 1985 too. Crash Magazine reviewed the game and I echo many of their sentiments. Criticism included, thank God the sound can be turned off, it nearly drove me around the bend. The game is playable, the highest of compliments, and I found that it was not addictive, the highest of understatements. Or the lowest, I don't know how that works. But yeah, I wasn't addicted either, besides the addictions I've gained from substances to meditate the Super Gran away. Then there's the very succinct, I hate it. They go on to say, if you enjoy badly drawn and frustrating games, then this is for you. But I would rather forget that I'd ever seen it. And finally, a general rating of waste of money. Despite this, they still gave Super Gran a relatively high overall rating of 43%. I'm told the Invisible Woman showed up, but I never saw her. Doing a bit of digging, I discovered that the gun turret on the top of sheet 4 is in fact supposed to be an invisibility machine. Must have fallen out of someone's pocket like a set of keys. So the game's outrageous explanation for giving you the same 4 sheets over again, but with a fading old windbag this time, is that after sheet 4, she picks it up, and Super Gran is now invisible. Yet it makes literally 0 difference, and everyone can still see her. I'm done! If you bought this, you were shafted in every possible way. And if you were the 1 in a million like me who actually bothered to complete all 4 sheets or stages or whatever over again, here is the end of sheet 8, folks. The end of Super Gran, the end of suffering, and your reward for wasting your life.
Three cheers for Super Gran!
Hip hip!
Hooray!
Hip hip!
Hooray!
Hip hip!
Hooray!
You old minge bag!
Let's see if Super Gran really can fly. Yeah, I'm not picking that up. I've beaten it, now I'm free. May the curse of Super Gran curse anyone, so long as it is not me. Overall, Super Gran isn't just shit. It's 4 shits cut in half, giving you 8 smaller shits. Somewhat insulting if you placed an order for 8 whole shits. The atrocious sound that this cassette excreted into my home will remain torturously in my head until my final days. And I'm pretty sure that this house is now haunted. Playing till the end has left a deep feeling of regrets that will never leave. I've been damaged, Sorax Spacers. I've been Sorax. Watch this space. Minge bags.
Oh, what is that? There's some kind of old minge bag flying in the sky. Oh, God, that noise. Oh, it's coming from over there as well. What's this all about then? Ah, it's a video game. Someone must have left it behind. Very kind of them. Why won't the noise stop? Why is my brain hurting? No, stop. No, that's no game. No, no, no!